Edie, tell us about your own personal experience because your mouth is just how was it for you? Were you structured from the get go?
In fact, let me tell you the truth. My structure was built of volunteers.
Oh wow.
Yes. Hello and welcome to Impact Bureau, a unique podcast brought to you by Mayan Organization. Impact Bureau is designed for NGO leaders, executives, founders, members, and trustees. Think of us on Impact Bureau as your unincorporated trustees who give you real advice that you wish your real board coulda, woulda, shoulda. Hello, welcome to another episode of Impact Bureau with Edem and Mo.
Hi everyone.
Thank you for joining us. We're really excited to have you on this edition. It's going to be super bumper packed. Another exciting reel of information. Just, sit back, relax,
And enjoy.
You have fun. Yes.
Edie, this one that you wake up today and are you coming from one rally?
Yes.
Now
I'm coming from the house.
Yeah,
I'm coming from the front of His Excellency.
What's going on? Should we be open for
Look very well. Look, everybody.
when you got
see
there?
here, man?
I'm seeing mine. When you got there, what did you tell? What did you tell him?
I told him, I said my organization, sir, has been existing for 12 years. This month we're celebrating the 12th year of Mayan. You know the NGOs, the lifespan for NGOs, the mortality rate for NGOs
5 years.
is 5
Any
years.
business at all.
So I'm celebrating a milestone. Friends, Maturayo, this is a milestone moment. So this cap is symbolic of the milestone moment
So
that Mayan is
you went
celebrating.
in with these teas.
Yeah. In fact, high five. You get them.
All right, Edie, what are we talking about today?
So, with my steez, we'll be talking about how to set up that perfect structure for your organization. How to get you there using the best structure, as they call them, organogram. So that's what we'll be talking about in today's episode. How to structure your organization. What should your organogram look like? Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump right into it.
Okay.
Okay, so there's always this mix-up, when people are starting out. A lot of young persons that are starting out with an NGO. It doesn't really have to be young. Anybody, like some people who don't have enough maybe background understanding of how to, or knowledge on how to start an NGO, confuse organizational structure with like your strategic plan. But we're not even going into the discussion of strategic plans today. So a friend of mine reached out to me, who just registered her NGO, and of course she asked about how would she structure, and I'm sure this is not a question just on her mind. It's also a question on the minds of so many people, because a lot of NGOs start out without even having, like, when you even ask them what's your structure, they don't know. You're smiling. You're smiling.
Do you know it's
I know
structure? I'm just thinking of Governor Wike. Structure. What structure do you have in the continue? Sorry.
I'm even remembering that year when I was volunteering mine, for instance. A lot of questions about structure, and I was like, waiting with this structure.
Structure matter.
I don't tire. Okay, so throw more light into like the concept of organizational structure.
In fact, now that you say it, when you said a lot of people confuse it with strategic planning, I'm like, because I was like, how come? But then I realized
that's another topic.
But it makes sense actually, because the whole purpose of what kind of structure should I have is to answer the question, how do I get to that objective with the right kind of system put in place? And strategic planning is also asking the same kind of question. Strategic planning is focusing on the how. How? What should I do to realize those outcomes? What are the best? So it makes sense that occurs. So basically, the structure, when you think about structure, the fact that you registered with CAC automatically does not translate to action on the ground. For action on the ground is just life principles. Even if it's a personal goal, it's a human being that will drive action on the ground. It's a plan of action or a specific set of activities that will translate to action or outcomes on the ground, right? So that's what brings us to the question of structure. What kind of, arrangement of people, systems will you set up to realize those brilliant objectives that you submitted to CAC? Or assuming you've even gone beyond CAC, you've sat down and already done your strategic planning for your donors or for yourself. What kind of structure is going to give effect, is going to give birth to that thing? And that's when you're, again, like I said, you're going to be talking about people. And this will bring you back again to the strategic objectives that you set out to achieve. It's going to frame even the kinds of structures that you are going to build to realize that. Let me give an example. If you want to work on post-harvest losses, you're in agric, and you say, oh, I noticed that part of the issues affecting food security is that a lot of smallholder farmers suffer, post-harvest losses. When they harvest food, the food rots, or the food, is destroyed, it spoils, it perishes. How can we reduce post-harvest losses to increase food security in Iseyin area of Oyo State? And this will bring you back again to the strategic objectives that you set out to achieve. It's going to frame even the kinds of structures that you are going to build to realize that. Let me give an example. If you want to work on post-harvest losses, you're in agric, and you say, oh, I noticed that part of the issues affecting food security is that a lot of smallholder farmers suffer, post-harvest losses. When they harvest food, the food rots, or the food, is destroyed, it spoils, it perishes. How can we reduce post-harvest losses to increase food security in Iseyin area of Oyo State? The structure, I'm going to design a program that helps to sensitize farmers around post-harvest losses, to help with storage so that farmers can improve their storage systems, and also to connect farmers to the markets, to buyers, so that there's less risk of these things perishing before getting to the market. Maybe it's a system of coordination. Now, I've spelled out that brilliant objective. There are 3 objectives I spelled out there. Sensitizing farmers about post-harvest losses, helping with storage, and connecting them to market buyers, right? Now, to translate that brilliant objective on paper to the ground, what am I going to need? People. Am I going to need people sitting down in an office in Bodija to realize that? Or maybe the best system is for sensitization. Let me partner with University of Ibadan or all these polytechnics to give me agric extension workers. Maybe a cohort of students or graduate students. I will train them on these specific maybe objectives of my organization. And then they go on the field. They will go on the field. I'm already creating structure. So I have a system of extension workers who go into these communities to access these these farmers and train them on these 3 areas. I'm also going to create a coordinating system. Maybe I'll build a database that I find all the people that want to buy tomatoes, red pepper, and onions. Companies in Lagos that have processing factories, but they are unable to identify these local people. So I will have a database that will gather the names and the locations of all these farmers, and then I will gather a database of all the buyers, and then I'll coordinate the system. As a bridge, do you understand? So I'm also even using technology as part of my structure. So again, the structure you create will reflect the strategic objectives that you have that you've spelled out for your organization. Okay, so Edie, this all brilliant illustration that you've given, brilliant, but it doesn't really speak to everybody. So how can you make these same principles that you've applied in the illustration you've just given to like people that how can you make it universal? Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. I think what I'll try to do is just break it into this. You have certain things you want to achieve, and you're going to need people to achieve as your drivers. Yes, and you're going to need a system in place. So, in its simplest form, let your structure be about the people and process. How you organize the people, and what system. What system are you going to use? To deliver the services through those people. I say this because some people's, structure are delivered virtually. Some people don't go physically to meet anybody. Maybe some organizations that are delivering legal services, just client counseling, maybe advisory. They just, you can phone them in distress and they give you advice. That system is maybe telephone based, right? But it's delivered by people. So please, when you are thinking about structure, it comes from the objectives you spelled out. You are now trying to translate those objectives into action on the ground. What type of people do I need? Those people, you organize them around their skills areas. Some organizations, they don't need to be so heavy on administrative staff. They don't need, they might not even bother with having maybe let me give an example, a lawyer in their system, amongst their staff. Some people, like people delivering legal aid services to prisoners, inmates, they need lawyers.
Okay.
Some people, you need a basic admin staff, but some NGOs, especially because we start with lean resources, you might not go as far as to bring in an HR expert at that point in time. You might not go as far as to bring in an accountant.
Okay.
But can you have other tools that you incorporate to do those tasks for you? So in terms of the administration or the support systems that are the backbone of driving the service delivery, you may decide that I won't be so heavy on the administrative component because I don't have much resources. So my structure is going to be built more on the service, that is the technical service
Okay,
delivery.
now let's go more practical. Let's say I want to run an NGO. Let's give 2 examples. One NGO wants to take homeless children off the streets.
Okay.
The other NGO wants to build the capacity of young people, young graduates.
Thank you.
And also link them with jobs.
Okay.
What different structures can these NGOs have?
So the NGO that wants to take people off the street, is it doing that by connecting those children to existing homes, or does it want to build a refuge?
No, existing homes.
So that kind of NGO is going to need program officers.
Okay.
Because those program officers are going to identify the children, assess their eligibility to be part of the program. Those program officers are also going to identify the homes that you're going to send these children into. It's almost like a foster care system, because those people will be doing safeguarding, they will be assessing the safety, they'll be minimizing the risks that the people that were attending these children to will not cause them harm. So you're looking at a lot of programmatic elements. Those people will probably involve trained psychologists, child psychologists. So it will inform even the skill sets that you are looking for in the kind of people. So structure is not just anybody off the street. Structure is talking about what kind of nature of skills do you need to translate your actions, to result on the ground. Okay. What group, how do you organize this set of people along what skills areas? Okay. Those people, I will need children's psychologists. I will also need, administrative people, because this is going to be a case of, coordination, a lot of coordination. Thank you. I might also need, legal. Because maybe
behind the scene, we can see you. Please don't let me finish my own.
So then let's look at the second example you gave, which is, what was the second example?
The one that handles that works with graduates. Okay. So you want to build their capacity, and you also want to link them up with jobs, like for employment.
So maybe that one is going to be more a case of, we want to get trained experts. Yeah. We want to get, these experts who can talk to young undergraduates or fresh graduates about, workplace readiness, about different sectors.
Must it be physical? It doesn't even have to be physical.
You can deliver this kind of service virtually. That organization, that NGO can even deliver its services virtually. Okay. But that the service is being delivered virtually doesn't mean that there's no backbone. Usually there will be a backbone. There will be meetings, there will be planning, there will be strategies, there will be fundraising. So usually there is a set of people behind the scenes who do those tasks. How are you organizing them? What kind of units should they be in to give effect? Again, it will come back to the objectives you spelled out. Most likely you are going to need a fundraiser or somebody who understands the money aspect of things. Most likely, if you are accountable for people's donations, you will need somebody who helps you with financial reporting, financial record keeping. This is what takes you to either the admin officer or the accountant. Do you understand?
This behind the scene, they are looking at these people behind the scene.
So I'm most likely you want to tell the story of the work you're doing. So you bring a communications person, because the more you tell the world what you're doing, the more the world believes in you and supports you. Hence the storytellers and the new jobs now coming up for storytelling, things like that. So all of these become your support people. But for this kind of organization, you don't need to be the one with all the skills to train the young people.
You need training.
In fact, you can't even be the one, because remember, you're covering so many sectors of the economy. So are you going to be the one to train them in tech jobs? Are you going to be the one to train them in agro jobs? Are you going to be the same person to train them in aviation sector jobs or education jobs? You will then have a whole system in place to attract or to recruit and engage these experts to tell them about the fields that are opening up, the gaps, and the opportunities for them to fill those gaps, things like that.
Wow. Yeah, tell us about your own personal experience, because your mouth is just how was it for you? Were you structured from the get-go?
In fact, let me tell you the truth. My structure was built of volunteers.
Oh wow.
Yes, because I didn't have resources. So a lot of the tasks I was leveraging people who would come and volunteer, or people that wanted NYSC, NYSC jobs and things like that. That helped me. So I was able to deliver services and realize many of my objectives through people. But the danger with that is that they're temporary.
Okay.
They are going. So you have to be onboarding people so frequently. You have to be people who have gone away with memory. The institutional memory has gone with that set of
so
people.
you have to
do training afresh, all of those things. But at the beginning, you might need to really focus a lot on volunteer systems.
So that helps you manage your resources, your financial resources. Okay, so now let's move to advice. Advise anybody out there that is starting an NGO or that has started an NGO, but maybe they've not even thought through this aspect of how do I structure. What's like the key take home? What would you advise?
Consult.
Okay.
Ask questions. And this is where your board is also important. I remember one of my board members was a retired secretary of the University College Hospital.
Oh, wow.
So she had a lot of experience. She was very seasoned administratively. So she used to tell me, always have this type of person. Always make sure that, even if you're dealing with volunteers, train somebody to be doing financial record keeping. Train somebody to, don't just focus on programs, which is what a lot of people do. Make sure that you have people behind the scenes doing the record keeping. Make sure that in terms of administrative correspondence, train your staff to do effective correspondence. So I was always conscious of having an administrator, somebody who could communicate information to all the staff, somebody who could communicate information from the staff to the leadership and from the leadership to all team members. Those things are important. When you're dealing with external stakeholders, who is going to email them, phone them, who is going to thank them after the event you've already held. Don't just imagine that it will just happen. And if you leave it to volunteers, they might not, these are undergraduates, they might not even know the ethics of an email. So these are things that we're conscious of.
Personally, how do you even think you're being intentional with, structuring your organization from the get-go? How do you think it's paying off right now?
It means that you're putting round pegs in round holes and not putting, square pegs in round holes. Because if you are conscious of, how you have to organize skill sets to effectively deliver, you'll be, even in your recruiting, you'll be conscious. If you have only 150,000 naira, and you know that your organization has to have these 3 units or these 3 service areas functioning to be able to reach your goals, you will make sure that 150 naira is spread well to achieve the skill sets that you need for minimum benchmark. So it helps you in just how you approach, you manage your resources, manage everything. You are not, like I said, you're not mismatching and you're also not, misappropriating.
So you've heard it all. You really need to be intentional from the get-go when it comes to structuring your organization. You also need to consult. I think that's one thing that the ED has really, really stressed in today's podcast. So thank you so much. I know and hope that you've really learned a lot. Catch you next week.
Bye.